One who nearly became a doctor always nearly sends people to the grave. Welcome to this episode. Still on PMP of April 20 to 30, 2003, we land on the page 3. The stories to be read are Man Eats Human, Then, youth banished suspected wizard from town, like I said in my last video. All right, viewers, pardon me if you are eating. Pardon me, you have to, give me a few seconds. Have a few seconds break. Hmm? Okay, Namshi. Man, name withheld, who attended to nature's call. Sorry, let me read the title. Sorry. So please give me a few minutes break. Man eats human feces. Man eats human feces. Pardon me. It's a story that I'm trying to read. So this is it. A man, name withheld, who attended to nature's call while traveling through Abosikope in the eastern region, was forced by the owner of the land on which he defecated to eat part of his own feces or face death. What a cruelty. Paragraph. The culprit, a 32-year-old fetish priest, Dawuso Sebi, brutally assaulted his wife, Regina Akpenavi, 25, and inflicted knife wounds on her for protesting against the inhuman treatment meted out to the victim. Full stop. Regina was, as a result, rushed to the Volta River Authority in the brackets VRA Hospital in Akosombo, where she was admitted for treatment and discharged after a week. Full stop. Sebi has been fined an amount of 10 million cedis or 9 months imprisonment in default by a Kpong community tribunal presided over by Mr. E.M. Asando. Not Asando, sorry, Esando. Mr. E.M. Esando. Paragraph. According to the prosecution, Sebi located his shrine between Kpong and Abusakokpe on the Kpong Accra Road. On January 25, the victim, who was passing through Abusakokpe, had to attend to nature's call in a bush, but was confronted by Sebi soon after, who forced him to eat part of his feces because the land belonged to him, the prosecution said. Shortly after this incident, Regina arrived at the scene and reprimanded Sebi for his action and pleaded with him to allow the victim to go away. Oh, this is a woman's heart. That's the heart of the woman. Back home, the prosecution said that Sebi became offended at his wife's intervention and therefore subjected her to severe beatings and inflicted on her knife wounds. When the news reached the people in the town, some of the youth organized themselves and stormed Sebi's home, which is a bit remote from town, freed Regina from his grip, and reported the case to the Kpong police. Paragraph. Regina was later rushed to the VRA hospital in Akosombo, where she was admitted for a week. Sebi, who pleaded not guilty initially, later changed his plea to guilty. Full stop. Meanwhile, he has begun serving his jail term at the Akuse prisons, while his relatives and patrons of his shrine are reported to be making efforts to raise the 10 million cedis to pay the fine. Look at the trouble he has put himself in. Hmm? By Prosper Gagnon Pong. Next story. Youth banish suspected wizard from town. Yes, Africa, we like the matter of witches and wizards too much. Hmm? I don't know. Okay. The youth of Abiru in the Kong district of the Volta region took the law into their own hands and chased a man whom they suspected to be a wizard from the town after allegedly subjecting him to inhuman treatment. Paragraph. According to sources, after the death of Abi Dapo, a businesswoman through a motor accident, people in the town blamed one Kwame Nuchubwe, 53, as the one who spiritually caused the death of the businesswoman. Full stop. He was therefore arraigned before a fetish priest at Kase near AdaM Junction. Paragraph. After trying him by ordeal, the fetish priest accused him as the one responsible for the death of the businesswoman. Full stop. Back home, the youth in the town subjected Nusugbe to physical assault for 3 days and ordered him to leave the town on the fourth day. They therefore burnt down his house, rendering him and his family homeless. Paragraph. Fortunately, information reached the police at Kondo, who quickly rushed to the town and conveyed him Margaret to the Margaret Marquette Hospital in Kwando for treatment. Full stop. Not satisfied with the rescue operation by the police, the youth hired a vehicle and forced Nusu- Nuchukwe Nuchukwe's wife and children into it and bade, and bade them farewell. And bade them farewell, warning them not to return to Avenue. Meanwhile, the police have revealed to PMP that trial by ordeal is an offense before the law. Therefore, they would effect the arrest of the fetish priest and the youth who assaulted Mr. Nusukwe and set the house and who assaulted Mr. Nusukwe and set the house ablaze on suspicion that he is a wizard. From Prosper Gagnon Pando. So the same Gagnon is doing these two stories. Are you within the Ashanti or northern sector of the country? Do you have an interesting social stories? Or do you have any interesting social studies and want them published? Or do you want to place an advert in PMP? Call Foster on 0247544846. I wonder if this number still is useful. Living, the most flattering prince. Complexion perfection. Oh, did I go over this? Did I read this piece? Yes, I think I read this. I think I jumped the other page. Okay. Big pause. Yes, I've read this. The most flattering prince. Okay. I've read this. Naked face. Okay. Naked face. I said we will repeat it because it's a series. So I mentioned it because it's a series. The entrepreneur, route to the top, How to build a media profile. Maybe relationships. The last mistake you don't know you are making. Not in front of the. Okay, yeah, we haven't done this page. So we'll jump over to page 9 and read relationships. The last mistake you don't know you're making. Then, not in front of the children. Um, the last mistake you don't know you're making. Think your main squeeze is happy as hell because he's not feeling any complaints. Well, you're not off the hook just yet. Here's what the secret he secretly craves from completion. Read this piece. Okay, let's see. Once you've settled into being a couple, it's important to put your relationship in cruise control and yeah, I think I've done it. I've done it. Not in front of the children. That's what I can't remember doing. Sorry, viewers. Sometimes I get mixed up. Not in front of the children. Uh, do you row behind closed doors, or do you let your children see that disagreement is normal? Children, whether you do it secretly or not, children are inquisitive. They will know it. Hmm? Okay, that's a question. Arguments are quite simply a fact of life. Hmm? Dash 90% of couples have them. But while disagreements between two partners are acceptable when you start a family, it becomes a whole different ball ball game. It becomes a whole different ball game. How should you handle disagreements once you have children? It's a question. While hide away in the privacy of your own bedroom. No, hide away in the privacy of your own bedroom. Another question. Third question coming. Blast off while the little ones are present. Third question. Is there anything they can learn from your disagreement? Fourth question. Or is it best to let them believe dash at least while they are very young dash that mommy daddy never have crosswords, learn to live with differences. Good advice for couples, for married couples. Okay, both married couples and friends. Okay, paragraph. The first thing to learn is that there's absolutely no way you can eradicate all arguments. The two of you are different people, so you will naturally disagree on some things. Full stop. So begin by letting go of the idea that the slightest sign of dissent has to be eradicated from your relationship. Dash. If you try, if you try, you will both just get so tense you will end up arguing more. Full stop. Instead, chill out around times and places where you differ. Chill out around times and places where you differ. Full stop. This not only means you will argue less, it will also mean that your children will get to be more comfortable with differences and hence a lot easier to live with. Develop ways to handle disagreement. That's the subtitle. Hmm? Disagreement is only natural, dash, but some ways of handling it are better than others. If you can catch an issue, if you can catch an issue early and talk it through before strong feelings get built up, it's all a lot easier. So if you spot something looming, begin by sitting down and talking through what you both need in the situation. In inverted commas, how do you want to do this? What do you want here? Then brainstorm all the possible solutions you could find. Then inverted commas, what are the possibilities? Question. Here's here's another idea. Then inverted commas. Then negotiate something that you then negotiate something that works for both of you. Inverted commas. Are you happy with that? I really prefer. Do this in front of the kids calmly and energetically, and they will learn even more socially useful lessons. Subtitle. Improve your disagreement style. Improve your disagreement style. Uh, it's very easy to get into the habit of into bad habits. Sorry, it's very easy to get into bad habits about handling disagreements. So it's a good idea to make sure that you're not failing into so you're not falling into any of them when you demonstrate your loving relationship in front of a watching audience of small people. Full stop. Get irritated, nagging, whining, interrupt each other, contradict each other, blame each other, shut down or walk out, and you will not only teach your children and useful social lessons. Full stop. You will also end up feeling bad, feeling bad yourselves, and unable to resolve anything. Full stop. On the other hand, learn to talk calmly. Take it in turns to speak. Ask each other good questions. Take each other's points on board. Give credit where it's due. Dash. Be flexible and creative in resolving conflicts. Be credible and reflective in resolving conflicts. Sorry, be flexible and creative in resolving conflicts. Full stop. And dash. You will not only get agreement much quicker, you will not only get agreement much quicker, full stop. You will also develop emotionally literate children. Subtitle. Don't hide conflict away. Don't hide conflict away. When you can't agree on anything, there's a good chance you will actively agree. There's no chance you will actively argue. But to some extent, even this may well be educational. Full stop. All children old enough to understand language need to start having models of conflict resolution in their lives. Full stop. And if they don't, and if they don't get those models, they won't know what to do when they are old enough to have conflict. Dash conflict with their partners. Full stop. Conflict with their partners, comma, friends, or even you. They may end up unable to control their anger or only able to give in to anyone who gets angry with them. They will feel disempowered and unhappy rather than knowing how to make peace and get the best outcome. So yes, avoid bad habits and keep it relevant. Dash. It's not appropriate to row about heavy sexual issues, for example. but don't just shut down if things get heated. The only kids will know there's yeah that sorry the kids will know there's something up anyway, and if you try to pretend nothing is wrong, they will just get confused and know you're not being completely honest. On the other hand, on the other hand, you're not being completely honest. Full stop there. Then on the other hand, hide away when a subtitle. Hide away when. Okay. The first exception to this rule is when you are arguing about how to handle your children for their own emotional security. They need to know you are not arguing about them, and that the two of you are consistent in the way you treat them. So present a united front, comma, give a give a unified party line, comma, a full stop. The second exception to the arguments, the second exception to the arguments out from in inverted commas. Hmm? Uh, the second exception to the arguments out front out front rule is when it gets vicious. Full stop. If your arguments get to the point of personal insult or attack, or of course violence, then that then your children absolutely do not need to witness this. The alternative is not simply to keep your arguments until after they go to bed. Is to get help first. Is to get help fast. Sorry, is to get help fast, as you are probably heading for a relationship breakdown. Full stop. The last subtitle. Talk about it. Uh, discussing arguments after the event. Discussing arguments after the event, if it's done right, can be very helpful to children because it helps them understand dash and learn dash the process. Full stop. Of course, this doesn't mean using that discussion. This doesn't mean using that discussion to repeat or rehearse negative feelings you have about each partner. You have about your partner. I'm sorry. You have about your partner. Full stop. It does mean being willing. It does mean being willing to explain to your children why the two of you argued, what you felt before and after, how you resolved the argument, and so got it right, and what you did wrong that you could have done better. Full stop. For example, for example, in inverted commas, we were discussing whether to buy a new television. Full stop. We both got very upset, which didn't help. Full stop. But in the end, we looked at how much money we had, and then we decided. Da, 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 da. So don't automatically run for shelter next time you feel a disagreement brewing. Full stop. Instead, use it as a learning experience, not only to you in how to improve your relationship, but also to your children in how to improve theirs. Subtle signs he digs you. Subtle signs he digs you. A man's action, dash, even if they are unconscious, dash, often speak louder than his words. Full stop. That babe is interested if he that babe is interested if he then we have 4 points there. One, that if he fondles his face. Mm. That babe is interested if he fondles his face. Huh? That's one. When a man is feeling you, his nervous system makes him fidgety. His nervous system makes him fidgety. Uh, he will stroke his Adam's apple or gently rub his lips. Full stop. These touchy-feely gestures mean he's a bit unsure and needs encouragement. Maybe that's what I'm doing. Pardon me. But there's no lady here anyway. Then two, gives you the warm shoulder. Full stop. If you huddled in a group, don't call it quits. Just because his eyes aren't focused on you. Full stop. To decode whom he truly desires, notice which way his shoulders are facing. Full stop. Why? Then you say why? Mhm. Man, Men are hardwired hardwired to position their torso in the direction of the person they deem most important. I think that's right. Hmm? Then that third point offers you a hand. When captivated, he will reach out and pat the back of your hand or wrist. He's literally taking he's literally taking a reading to see how you respond to his touch. Fourth, stakes his claim. If he's sitting at a bar, he will place his cash or keys in front of him to proclaim his availability and status. Uh, Men are so clever, and I don't know these things. Maybe some of you will agree or disagree. Mhm. Not in front of the children. So let's see. Relationship. We did this one. We continue. We did this one. We're going to page 10. Share a thought. Okay, I think viewers, we shall put this in the fridge for the next video. So in our next video, we'll go to page 10 and stories there in leadership. Share a thought. Leadership by Martin Alco Abel. Then rat poison, campus life, rat poison. Then it happened to me from the brink of death, part one. Then the deepest regret, a lesson of pride. So, viewers, in our next episode, we shall go to these stories, which start with page 10. Thank you very much, Illa Lekai, and please forgive me for my little errors. God bless you. Bye bye.